Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to come to you again this evening to give you some more information and kind of some updates on what exactly is going on here in America concerning the election fraud and the fake president. Um, so I saw a clip, I think the night before last. I saw it again today. So one of many whistleblowers has come forward, and she is using her name. She actually did an interview on the news with her attorney. And she is from Detroit. She's given a sworn affidavit. She was told at the voting polls not to ask for any type of ID or identification to make sure that the person voting was actually registered to vote. Oh, and it's important to note that she actually worked for Dominion. Dominion is the software company that provided the software for the voting machines. And I'll get to that in a little bit. So she was there on behalf of Dominion. So she said that she was told not to ask for ID, and she was also told to backdate votes that arrived after polling closed by the thousands. And she's like the third whistleblower to come forward in Detroit, one of which is an attorney. I saw another video today of a Detroit election worker caught on audio telling people to destroy ballots. I saw another video of, I'm not exactly sure where it was at, but a guy opening people's ballots and looking at the name and saying, showing the camera, if they say Donald J. Trump, and he rips it in half and says, they don't make it through. And he throws it over his shoulder. So also, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it. The girl who actually got notification in the mail that her dog voted. Her dog was registered as a college student. And when she called to report it, they told her, oh, well, she's already voted. You can't make this shit up. So I'm going to speak a little bit on something the president said. I believe it was earlier today. So I already told you that Dominion is a software, and it is the software used in these voting machines to tally votes. So Donald Trump says Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide, 221,000 Trump votes in Pennsylvania alone switched to Biden. So 221,000 in Pennsylvania alone were switched from Trump to Biden. 941,000 Trump votes deleted in Pennsylvania for President Trump, just deleted. 435,000 votes so far they have found with this, just the software, and the states and counties using the software, that 435,000 were switched from Trump to Biden overall. That's what they found so far. It's not a glitch, it's a feature. Doesn't anyone find it funny that it only glitches one way? And there's more to this Dominion story. So a forensic investigation of every change in the data, and this just concerns the machines, 3,889,947 votes have been stolen from President Trump. Systematic criminal fraud. And that's just vote switching nationwide. That doesn't include deceased voters, destroyed ballots, disqualified ballots, fake ballots, not able to be verified. This can only be done by investigation or audit, actually looking through every ballot, not just recounting them. So Fox News finally acknowledged the wrong call on election night in Arizona. I've already given my opinion on Fox News betraying the people that made them number one and the president. Georgia also announced that they are doing a full hand audit of every vote. So not a recount, an audit. So earlier, just for the fun of it, I put in the internet search engine Google, how many or how bad is the election fraud against Trump? I could not find one true story, not one. Every single article, story that I came across is bashing Trump, calling this a hoax, a lie, unfounded, you name it. Nothing factual on election fraud. That is so disturbing and frightening. Every story I found is bashing Trump. So in Detroit, the whistleblower that I spoke about, Melissa Carone, she worked for Dominion. What she said on the news was she saw with her own eyes votes being put through machines 4 and 5 times for the same ballots. She said they would receive stacks of 50 ballots, and that was a batch. So she explained that the batches of 50 ballots would be rescanned 4 to 5 times each. She also spoke of food trucks arriving in the middle of the night and how there wasn't enough food to provide meals for the workers, and that the trucks that arrived in the middle of the night, she suspected it to be fake ballots because they were banned from seeing what was being delivered. She said the trucks were not large enough to be delivering enough food for all of the poll workers, and that it was done in complete secrecy. So I want to read to you something else I found interesting. So, losing with the conservative lean in the Supreme Court with mounds of evidence was the plan. So, evidence that's impossible to deny. By the Constitution, if the race is close, Congress can decide the winner. This is why they cheated, just enough to get a win for Biden. So if Trump challenged and couldn't get a Supreme Court case, Congress, which is technically controlled by the Dems, would decide. But I'm a little confused by this because although there are more Democrats in Congress, Republicans have more states. So Republicans have 30 states in Congress. I believe Democrats have something like 19. So Joe M. of QAnon had his account suspended for tweeting, "Patriots be warned. President Trump has legally claimed the states he knows he won fairly. The counting now is just a formality. The intent is to settle in court, not at counting stations. If he loses the count, it means nothing, because the election will be Amy Coney Barrett's to decide. Biden will never be sworn in as president." So he had his whole account suspended forever for that. So Amy Coney Barrett, in her confirmation hearing, Kamala Harris accused Amy Coney Barrett of adopting 2 Black children to get attention and seem to not be racist. And she actually suggested removing Amy Coney Barrett's children from her home. Her faith was attacked. She was attacked in every way possible. And Kamala Harris really crossed the line going after her children. Come on. So 30 states violated their own laws by counting new votes after the day of election. All of the trucks at 2 and 3 a.m. on November 4th and beyond with ballots are invalid. The Supreme Court will not count those votes. Trump was in the lead when the election ended. Therefore, he is the legal president. To win legally in court was the Trump card. So here, this is very important about the software, Dominion, and the software company. Dominion software was used in 48 counties in Michigan alone and used all over the country. Ballot machines were all connected to the internet. They're supposed to be linked to intranet, so internal communication networks. They were not supposed to be linked to the World Wide Web. Sidney Powell, General Flynn's attorney, said they discovered an algorithm that calculated how many votes Biden needed to win. She said they found machines were transferring just enough votes from Trump to Biden so he could win. The Dominion software the machines used to tally votes is owned and controlled by Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband. Not only is he an acting board member, he is the majority owner of Dominion. As I said, glitches that only glitch one way. So I wanted to read you something else. So most people are wondering, where's the DOJ? Why are they not acting? QAnon for a long time has been talking about 10 days of darkness. No one knew exactly what this meant until now. So people thought, okay, maybe 10 days of darkness from the internet, 10 days of darkness. No. The Department of Justice by law cannot take action, real action, until 10 days after the election. Interesting, right? So between 2018 and now, Trump and a few trusted people planned and closed doors watermarking initiative where they printed all valid where they marked and printed all valid ballots with a watermark only visible under direct 640 nm producing light sources. The fix was implemented when the election began. It was always rigged. This was the plan, though the watermark was a secret up until halfway through election night. Sorry, guys, my son.
Come here, bud.
He's gonna crash my video. Sorry, buddy. Oh, I'm almost done. So the fix was in though. They're freezing the count. They were freezing the count because it was the only option, because this was kept a secret until election night, the watermarking of the ballots. So when this was revealed, they began to panic, and it's why they stopped counting. So if they call it Trump audits and they use the watermark, if they don't call it, Trump will win because they'll have conceded to save face. At which point Arizona and New York will flip and Pennsylvania hold, and it's over. Either way, Trump wins. Democrats are seething. And it says, "This is the prophecy, motherfuckers." I love it. I also have a letter. And I'm not Catholic, but I found this very interesting. It was written by Carlo Maria Vigiano, an archbishop, November the 8th, 2020. I'm just going to read parts of it. So he says, the evidence of colossal election fraud is being censored by the media, which now proclaims Joe Biden's victory as an accomplished fact. The reality of the electoral fraud, of blatant violations of the rules and systematic falsification of the results contrasts with the narrative given to us by the information giants who say that Joe Biden is the new president of the United States, period. And so it must be. There are no alternatives either to the supposed devastating fury of a seasonal flu that caused the same number of deaths as last year, or to the inevitability of the election of a candidate who is corrupt and subservient to the deep state. In fact, Biden has already promised to restore the lockdown. Reality no longer matters. It is absolutely irrelevant when it stands between the conceived plan and its realization. The accusations of irresponsibility thrown at Trump supporters for holding rallies vanish as soon as Biden supporters gather in the streets, as has already happened for Black Lives Matter demonstrations. What is criminal for some people is permitted for others. Without explanations, without logic, without rationality, the mere fact of being on the left, of voting for Biden, of putting on the mask, is a pass to do anything. While simply being on the right, voting for Trump, or questioning the effectiveness of masks is sufficient reason for condemnation and an execution that does not require any evidence or a trial. They are ipso facto labeled as fascist, sovereignist, populist deniers, and those labeled with these social stigmas are supposed to simply silently withdraw. No, these are not stigmas. It's called rational thought process. We thus return to the division between good people and evil people. That is ridiculed when it is used by one side ours, and conversely held up as an incontestable postulate which used by our adversaries, when used by our adversaries. They are the good ones, even if they support the killing of the innocent, and we are supposed to get over it. Well, we're not going to get over it. There are the ones supporting democracy. They are the ones supporting democracy, even if in order to win elections, they must always resort to deception and fraud, even fraud that is blatantly evident. There are the defenders of freedom. They are the defenders of freedom, even if they deprive us of it day after day, which they do. They are objective and honest, even if their corruption and their crimes are now obvious, even to the blind. The dogma that they despise and deride in others is indisputable and incontrovertible when it is they who promote it. Excuse me, I don't have my glasses on. They are forgetting a small detail, a particular that they cannot understand. The truth exists in itself. It exists regardless of whether there is someone who believes it, because the truth possesses in itself, ontologically, its own reason for validity. The truth cannot be denied because it is an attribute of God. It is God Himself, and everything that is true participates in this primacy over lies. We can thus be theologically and philosophically certain that these deceptions, ours, are numbered, because it will be enough to shed light on them to make them collapse. Light and darkness, precisely. So let us allow light to be shed on the deceptions of Biden and the Democrats without taking even one step back. The fraud that they have plotted against President Trump and against America will not remain standing for long. Nor will the worldwide fraud of COVID, the responsibility of the Chinese dictatorship, the complicity of the corrupt traitors, and the enslavement of the deep church. Everything fits together. In this panorama of systematically constructed lies spread by the media with a disturbing impudence, the election of Joe Biden is not only desired, but is considered indispensable, and therefore true, and therefore definitive. Even though the vote counts are not completed, even though vote verification and recounts are only just beginning, even though the lawsuits alleging fraud have only just begun, Biden must become president because they have already decided it. The vote of the American people is valid only if it ratifies this narrative. Otherwise, it is reinterpreted, dismissed as populism and fascism. Not surprising that Democrats have such coarse and violent enthusiasm for their candidate, nor the media and the official commentators have such uncontainable satisfaction, nor that political leaders from around the world are expressing their support and sycophantic subjection to the deep state. We are watching a race to see who can arrive first, elbowing the sprawling to show off so that they can be seen to have always believed in the crushing victory of the Democratic puppet. Simply a part of the trite script of the global left, we are frankly left quite disturbed by the declarations of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, immediately republished by Vatican News, which with disturbing cross-eyedness credits itself with having supported the second Catholic president in the history of the United States, apparently forgetting the non-negligible detail that Biden is avidly pro-abortion. A supporter of LGBT ideology and of anti-Catholic globalism, the Archbishop of Los Angeles, Jose H. Gomez, profaning the memory of the Cristeros martyrs of his native country, says bluntly, the American people have spoken. The frauds that have been denounced and widely proven matter little. The annoying formality of the vote of the people, albeit adulterated in 1,000 ways, must now be considered to be concluded in favor of the standard bearer of aligned mainstream thought. Sheeple. Those who disagree, those who ask for clarity, those who have recourse to the law to see their rights protected, do not have any legitimacy and must be silent, resign themselves and disappear, or rather they must be united with the exultant choir. Applaud and smile. Those who do not accept are threatening democracy and must be ostracized. As may be seen, there are still two sides, but this time they are legitimate and indisputable because it is they who impose them. He goes on to say, to speak of the Masons and the very powerful friends that Joe Biden has, and what a coincidence this is, and how it relates to the New World Order, and how they deny the teaching of Christ and the doctrine of the church. Taking note of this is the first imperative step in order to understand the complexity of the present events and consider them in a supernatural perspective. So he goes on to say, American Catholics must multiply their prayers and beg the Lord for a special protection for the President of the United States. I ask priests, especially during these days, to recite the exorcism against Satan, and especially the apostate angels, and to celebrate the votive Mass pro defension. I don't know Latin. Let us confidently ask for the intervention of the Blessed Virgin Mary, to whose immaculate heart we consecrate the United States of America and the entire world. Carlo Maria Figiano, Archbishop. And as I said, I'm not Catholic, but this says a lot to me that people like this are so concerned with what is happening. The world is literally upside down, and we are stuck at a Mad Hatter Tea Party. I personally drank the wrong bottle of shit and cannot wake up. It's like we're all on a bad acid trip, and it's never ending. It's really unbelievable. So I am hoping for this reset. I'm ready for this whole shenanigans to be over so we can get back to business and continue helping people in South Africa and beyond, because that's what I do. I seek to help people who are in the situation that we as conservatives are in America right now. There are many people in the world that do face what we face, but it is compounded. And this is coming for us if we do not stop this now. If Republican, GOP, independent candidates who see this corruption going on and remain silent do not stand up and demand answers for this fraud going on, we're done. as I said last night, we'll never again see another conservative president in the United States if people do not stand up and do the right thing. And I'm going to remind you, GOP candidates, one more time, we the people are watching you, and we will not vote for cowards. We will not vote for people who sat in the background and waited for a victory so they could act like they were supporting the president and supporting the people the whole time. We see you. We see you. We see the ones standing up, and we see the ones hiding. And the ones hiding, you will not hold office much longer. And again, I want to send a message to the world. I wanted to share this information with you guys because I know a lot of people are counting on this election, and that a lot of people have their hope in Donald Trump and this election. It's not just about us as Americans. This could change the direction of entire people, of countries, entire countries. And we can't let that happen. So, once again, I urge everyone to keep supporting the president. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to have his job and be attacked on such a level every day of your life, and continue to fight and sacrifice everything for love of country and people. That is a rare quality. And no matter what anyone thinks, that deserves respect. So, thank you. Please keep supporting President Trump. Please keep speaking out. Please keep posting every fraud, everything in support of him, because he needs all the support he can get right now. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.